Good morning to all of you. Today we are going to discuss about rectilinear propagation of light by considering Fresnel diffraction. So let's start. In our previous class we have been discussed about Fresnel half period zone for plane wave. Suppose this will be the plane wave, and if a sphere of different radius of we have to consider PM1 one sphere, if it will like this much, and if it will cut this plane wave front, then we are going to get this area. Likewise, if we are going to consider the sphere of radius P to M2, one sphere of radius P to M2, that is B plus 2 lambda by 2, that means this much sphere. If we are going to imagine, and when that sphere is going to be cut this wavefront, then we are going to get this area, this area. So this each and every area will be called as Fresnel half period zone, which will be like this. So this portion is the first half period zone. This portion, this annulus is called as the second half period zone. Then this annulus is the third half period zone, like that. And the first half period zone radius is OM1, OM2, OM3, like that. So the path difference between the ray which are coming from 0 and M1 is lambda by 2. That means the distance between 0 to P is B. The distance between M1 to P is B plus lambda by 2. Hence the path difference between the ray which is coming from here M1 to P and O to P, that is lambda by 2. Likewise, the path difference between M1 to P and M2 to P will be the path difference is lambda by 2, because M1 to P is B plus lambda by 2, M2 to P is B plus 2 lambda by 2. Hence the path difference between M2 to P and M1 to P is lambda by 2. Likewise, each and every consecutive half period zone have the path difference is lambda by 2, or the phase difference is pi, that we have been discussed in our last class. So today we are going to discuss about rectilinear propagation of light by considering Fresnel's diffraction. So from figure 1 and 2, what we have been observed, it has been observed that first 1, 2, 3, etc. half period zones are constructed on the primary wavefront XY. That means if we are going to consider this figure 1, this is first half period zone, second half period zone, third half period zone, like this have been observed in the wavefront. And from figure 2, this is figure 2, okay, this is figure 2. From the figure 2 we can found that OM1, OM2, OM3, OM1, OM2, OM3 are the radius of half period zones, and P is the point in figure 2 at which the resultant intensity has to be calculated. Here the point P where we are going to calculate the resultant intensity. And OP, here OP is equal to B, O to P is equal to B, and OM1, O to M1 is first half period zone radius, let it is R1, OM2 is R2, OM3 is R3, etc. And M1 to P is the distance is P plus lambda by 2, M2 to P is the distance is B plus 2 lambda by 2, M3 to P is b plus 3 lambda by 2, etc. Like that. M4P p will be b plus 4 lambda by 2, like that. The area of first half period zone we are going to calculate. That means what will be the area of this region. Now the radius of first half period zone is OM1, which is R1. So OM1 square. So area will be area of the first half period zone will be pi radius of square. So pi m1 square, that will be m1 square will be nothing but this diagonal distance square minus this distance square. So that is b plus lambda by 2 whole square, b plus, that is m1 p square minus OP square. If we are going to consider the triangle OM1P, then OM1 will be m1p square minus OP square. Okay. Now m1p is nothing but b plus lambda by 2 square minus OP is b square. Now we can found by simplifying this two term, we can found this one, b lambda plus lambda square by 4. But lambda is very small and lambda square will be very small, so lambda square by 4 can be neglected and the area of the first half period zone can be found as pi b lambda. So the radius of first half period zone will be equal to OM1. This is the area of first half period zone. How much we got? Pi b lambda. So now the radius of first half period zone will be, because the radius is OM1 is the radius, so we found pi OM1 square is pi b lambda. Now radius is nothing but OM1 will be R1 equal to OM1 equal to b lambda to the power root over to the power 1 by 2 or root over of b lambda, which is equation number 2. Now come to the next page, that we are going to get the radius of second half period zone, that can be found from like this. This is OM2, that is OM2 is nothing but m2p square minus OP square. m2p square minus OP square, we can found that 2b lambda to the power 1 by 2 or root over of 2b lambda approximately. Then the area of the second half period zone will be pi r2 square minus pi r1 square. The area of the second half period zone means this area of this annulus. This area of this annulus is nothing but pi OM2 square minus pi OM1 square, or pi r2 square minus pi r1 square. Pi r2 square will be 2b lambda, because r2 is 2b lambda to the power 1 by 2, so it will be pi 2b lambda minus pi r1. We found that root over of b lambda. Here we found r1 is root over of b lambda, so only for that we can get pi b lambda, which will be equal to pi b lambda. Here it is found that area of each half period zone is equal to pi b lambda. We got the area of first half period zone is pi b lambda and area of second half period zone is pi b lambda. Similarly, if we are going to find out the third half period, fourth half period zone areas, also we are going to get pi b lambda. That means area of each half period zone is equal, and the radius are 1b lambda, root over of 1b lambda, root over of 2b lambda, root over of 3b lambda, etc. correspond to the first, second, third half period zones. Here one thing we have to be noticed that therefore the radii are proportional to the root over of natural numbers. Also area of the zone depends on, so here if you are going to consider radius, then radius is proportional to root over of natural numbers, and area is depends upon the wavelength of the light, and b, which is the distance from the wavefront to the screen. Here the area of each zone is same. The secondary waves reaches the point P are the continuously out of phase and in phase with reference to central or fast half period zone. So area of this half period zones are same, but however the ray coming from here to P and ray coming from M1 to P, they are out of phase. They have not same phase, they have different phase or different path difference. And M2P, if I am going to compare M1P also, they have travelled with a different path, that means different phases, and they are going to be interferes at P, and we are going to get the resultant intensity at P. So now we are going to consider that now to calculate the resultant intensity at point P, we have been considered that M1, M2, M3 etc. represent the amplitude of vibration of the ether particle at point P due to secondary waves from first zone, second zone, third zone etc. That means we have been considered that at point P, due to the propagated waves whatever coming from first zone, second zone, third zone, due to that wave some disturbances, suppose this wave is moving like this, due to this wave we can get the disturbance at point P, and let due to fast half period zone M1 is the disturbance, due to second half period zone M2, due to third half period zone M3 are the amplitudes of vibration of ether particle at point P due to secondary waves from the first and etc. first, second, third etc. half period zones. Here figure 2, the zones are outward from O, so obliquity increases and hence the quantities M1, M2, M3 etc. are of continuously decreasing order. So as M1, M2, M3 are outward from the O, then obliquity factor also we are going to consider, because obliquity factor for this and for this are different. That means we can consider that the intensity due to this is maximum and intensity due to this is minimum, because due to the obliquity is increases for this as compared with this one. So hence M1 is the slightly greater than that of the M2, M2 is slightly greater than that of the M3. That means the intensity which is coming from M1 is slightly greater than the intensity of M2 which is coming from the second half period zone, and like that. And due to the phase difference of pi between two consecutive zones, we can found the displacement of ether particle due to the odd numbered zone is in the positive direction. Then due to the even number zone, our displacement will be the negative direction at the same instant. So another things also we have been considered here. So here we have been considered that as if we are moving from origin to this side, the obliquity factor is increases, the intensity of this is gradually also decreases. So this is intense, this intensity is gradually somewhat greater than this one, this intensity is slightly greater than this, so intensity decreases, and as this period zone and this period zone both are having the phase difference is pi, so if the oscillation is due to first half period zone is upward, will be upward, then second half period zone it will be downward because they have the phase difference is pi. Only for that we have been considered this diagram that for M1 half period zone, for half period zone, first half period zone which having the oscillating amplitude is M1, if it is in this direction, for second half period zone the oscillating amplitude in the opposite direction like this, third one is this direction, fourth one will be like this. So at last if we have to consider n number of zones, so n number of zones have the approximately zero intensity. As the amplitude are gradually decreases, the two times I have written, the magnitude of vibration at point P due to any zone can be approximately taken as the mean of the amplitude due to the zones preceding and succeeding it. So here we can consider that as amplitude is gradually decreases and also both are opposite vibrations, the mean amplitude of M2 or M2 amplitude can be considered as average amplitude of this one and this one, M1 and M3. So M2 can be written as M1 plus M3 by 2. Come to the next page, and the resultant amplitude at point P at any instant is given by A equal to M1 minus M2 because M2 is opposite to the M1 plus M3 like this. Mn if n is odd. If this is positive means see positive sign we found before the odd n. So if it is positive then n should have to be odd. But if n is even, if we have to consider n is even, then this will be negative, minus mn we have to consider. So here A equal to m1 by 2 plus, here m1 is divided into m1 by 2 plus m1 by 2. So m1 by 2 will be here, another m1 by 2 we can write here, minus m2 plus m3 by 2 plus again m3 by 2, m3 by 2 again divided by 2, m3 by 2 plus m3 by 2 minus m4 plus m5 by 2 like that. But m2 is equal to m1 by 2 plus m3 by 2, but mean of these two, that whatever we got in last page. So if we are going to put this one, and m4 is m3 by 2 plus m4 5 by 2, attab A will be equal to, see here m2 minus m2 we have, m1 by 2 plus m3 by 2 is nothing but again m2. So these terms will be cancelled out and we are going to get A equal to m1 by 2 plus mn by 2 if n is odd, and likewise A equal to m1 by 2 plus mn minus 1 by 2 minus mn if n is even. So if we are going to consider the long chain, then we can found by cancelled out these type of terms, we can get at last mn by 2 if n is odd, and if n is even, then this type of term we are going to get. If the whole wavefront ABCD is obstructed, now we have to consider figure 1. Suppose this whole this wavefront has been obstructed, is not going to be propagated through this slit. Then what will happen? The number of half period zone that can be constructed with reference to be the point is infinite. Unobstructed, if whole wavefront is unobstructed, that means if we have to consider this whole wavefront is not obstructed, that means the whole is going to be passed through the slit, then n number of, or n tends to infinite number of half period zones can be considered. As the amplitude are the gradually diminishing order, mn and n minus 1 tends to be 0. So mn, the nth, if n tends to infinity, nth or n and n minus 1 whatever tends to be 0. This amplitude is going to be 0 if we are going to consider n number of half period zones, and if we are going to consider n number, which is this is m1, m12, m13 up to mn, and n tends to infinity, what will the amplitude? Amplitude will be 0. the amplitude will be 0. Therefore, the resultant amplitude at point P will be this term, and this term could not be considered. Only m1 by 2 we are going to consider, m1 by 2. So the intensity at that point will be equal to how much? The intensity will be this proportional with this amplitude square, that is m1 square by 4. So what we found, thus intensity at point P is only 1/4 of that due to the first half period zone. From the above calculations, we found that the intensity at point P is only 1/4, around square of the 1/4 of the intensity whatever passed through the first half period zone. Okay, here only half the area of the first half period zone is effective, is producing the illumination at that point. So from this discussion, this amplitude can be produced by the even if first half of the area of the first half period zone. So a small obstacle which can be placed at O will screen or obstruct the effect of whole wavefront, and the intensity at point P due to the rest of the wavefront will be 0. While considering the rectilinear propagation of the light, the size of the obstacle is required which is greater than that of the area of the first half period zone. Hence bending effect cannot be noticed. So in summary, whatever we have been found, that considering this type of a model like this, intensity is gradually decreasing by each and every half period zone, we found that the intensity at this is due to only the intensity of this, whatever we have been found, that is m1 square by 4. m1 square by 4 means the amplitude of first half period zone square by 4. That means if we are going to put a small aperture in front of this half period zone, then it will be collapse, or it will be give the 0 intensity. So if we are going to consider the rectilinear propagation of light, then we need a large size of aperture to obstruct the whole wavefront. To obstruct the whole wavefront, we need if we want the obstruct this wavefront, we need this much large amount of obstruction. But here we found that due to this m1, the intensity at point P is m1 square by 4. That is means that it is depends upon the only first half period zone. So here, if light is rectilinear propagation of motion, then we need this much larger size of plate to obstruct. But here a small size of aperture can be obstruct the light. So hence here it is considered that, or here it is assumed that rectilinear propagation light is only the approximate. Though whatever we consider the rectilinear propagation of light, it is not 100% correct as per the Fresnel. Means the light can be bent at the edge of the slit. So this is the conclusion that rectilinear propagation of light is approximately true. So go through this with your note and complete it. Okay.